God promised Sarah and Abraham a child, and Sarah should not have worried. When the three strangers visited Sarah and Abraham, the Lord promised they would have a baby within a year. Sure enough, in less than a year, the impossible happened. Old Sarah, far too old to have children, gave birth to a son. Abraham was 100 years old when Sarah's baby was born. He and Sarah were so happy, so thankful to God for finally answering their prayers. They cried for joy. Every time Abraham saw the boy, he smiled, and Sarah smiled all the time. The child made them so happy, they would often laugh together. So they called the baby Isaac, which meant he laughs. The boy was a good reason to laugh and be happy. Abraham, the voice of God called, "Take your son, your only son Isaac. I know how much you love him, and this is why I ask you to do this difficult thing. I want you to give Isaac back to me." Abraham said nothing. The God he knew would never want him to kill his own son. Abraham knew that. God had promised Isaac would have many children. How could that happen if Isaac were dead? It was like holding a friend's hand when he cannot see where you are going. The friend has said you are headed for a deep hole, and you may fall into it. You hold on to your friend's hand anyway, because it's the only guidance you can trust. Your friend will not let you down. Step by step, you follow him. Abraham knew he could choose not to trust God. He could say no, run in fear, and try to hide. But who could hide from God? Or he could choose to trust. Perhaps there was more to God's plan than what first seemed to be there. Early the next morning, Abraham woke his son up. "Come, Isaac, we are going on a trip." Since Isaac was almost a young man by then, Abraham had Isaac carry the wood. He told his son they were going to make a sacrifice to God. Abraham carried the knife. Isaac had often made burnt offerings with his father to give thanks to God, but this time was different. Something was missing. "Father?" "Yes, my son?" "I have the wood," Isaac said, "but where is the lamb for sacrifice that we usually offer?" "I have the wood." Abraham answered, "God will provide." After 3 days of travel, Abraham said that they had come far enough. Then he told Isaac to climb onto the altar. Isaac looked at his father. He saw Abraham's eyes, the love his father felt for him. Isaac chose to trust Abraham. As he lay himself down, Isaac asked God to keep him safe. Abraham stood over Isaac, holding the knife up high. He was just about ready to kill his son when an angel said, "Abraham, Abraham." Abraham stopped, his hand in mid-air. "Don't hurt the boy. You have shown how much you trust God with everything, even the life of your special son Isaac." Abraham looked and saw a ram whose horns were caught in a nearby bush. There was the offering God had provided. The angel called down from the sky again. "Abraham," God says, "because you trust him so much, he will make your family as many as the stars in the sky. All the other nations in the world will be blessed through you." Isaac and his father hugged each other. Both father and son were happy just to be together. And this is true today. If you look around and you study it, you'll see that all of the nations are blessed by the Jewish people, by the Israeli people, the same people from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God has a mighty way of tying all these ties together. And if you research it and you want to know about God in your heart and you keep seeking, everywhere you turn, it's going to be a major, major place in the Bible that says the same thing. All of the Jewish people bless us today. They give us many blessings, and we also help protect them as well over in Israel. And you'll learn more and more of that as you grow older, but that is an awesome story about sacrifices that we have to make here on earth. And even the very first people that God made, Abraham and Isaac, they didn't understand all of what God had before him, just like sometimes we don't understand what's before us, what God asks us to do. Maybe God asks you to be nice to a friend on the playground who pushes you and makes mean comments to you, but you're going to love him anyway. Because why? Because God said so, and he put it in our hearts to do that. So we can try each time to love a little more like God wants us to. And that's the story of Isaac.